Hey, good day, everybody. This is Rob Mazak. I am a psychic medium with numerous amounts of services to help and assist people figure out what is going on in life and help them get on their way. But I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about New Year's resolutions. I wrote a little something, posted it earlier, but I thought that I might actually voice it out a little bit because we are coming up on the holiday seasons and where we have Christmas and Hanukkah and a lot of different other religious type ways of celebrating the holidays. But along with that usually comes that end of the year and the new year beginning for 2023, where we all classically like or generally like to create outrageous, usually very over the top goals for ourselves, New Year's resolutions, if you will. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to whatever that is, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm making a little light of it there. And, I suppose that works for a lot of people. But what I found, well, especially within myself, but in talking with and observing with others in that respect, what I find is that a lot of people wait till the end of the year after they probably feel guilty for all the excess food they've had through Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays or however you celebrate, all the alcohol they've had to drink. Just basically kind of took a whole season of letting go. Which I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that I think that kind of pushes us in the direction for the new year and getting back to reality, going, well, I sure don't like the reality that I've had for a year. I don't like the fact that I don't make enough money or I don't have enough success. I'm not in any kind of physical shape. I am not going to church or something like that enough. My spirituality has fallen off. And, and coming off of a holiday season for basically a month and a half, it really does push us into going, wow, what are we doing exactly? And it's not a bad thought, and for some people it actually does work. I do know people that set New Year's resolutions and actually stick to them. But what I have found over the years is that when I've done that, just like most people will classically do, is within about a month, maybe 2 months, when we're not seeing any success in the areas that we've decided to change, over the next month or two, sometimes we can get out to 2, sometimes longer. And then we just kind of fall back into old habits. And then we don't really necessarily chase those intentions that we set at the beginning of the year any longer. And we just fall back into the same old patterns. Why do we keep falling in the same old patterns? And then at the end of the year, we're like looking back and going, what did I do with my life? I haven't done anything, right? Or I haven't done enough. I'm the same old person I was a year ago. And that can be kind of depressing for a lot of people. But at the same time, long-term goals like that or big goals like that don't necessarily always work for people. What I have found for me, and let me digress just a little bit, is I actually, wow, gosh, it must be 10, 15, 20 years ago now. I finally made a resolution at the beginning of one year that I wasn't going to make resolutions anymore, that I was going to strive to have resolutions every day when I get up and start my day, and make little smaller goals that I can actually at some point achieve. Now, you guys might say, well, small goals don't really help. Well, what I mean by small goals is that any goal I believe that you set should be beyond what you're normally capable of. It should push you out of your norms. It should perhaps even scare you. It should really stretch you. It should give you a sense of urgency a sense of I need to do a whole lot more here if I'm going to create this goal. And I'm not saying that having a long-term goal is a bad idea, because I have a really big vision for something. Well, me and my wife do. And, but if a lot of times when we look at something that huge, and it seems so daunting, and, usually we don't have a clue where to start. We forget sometimes that there's a lot of steps in between, and we actually have to have little small goals or milestones set up. And even if they're not, entirely set up, every possible step or in every detail, I think having some kind of thing set up that you can measure yourself against is a good idea, right? And so what I have found though is that it to me it's a lot easier for me to look a little down the road, not too far, and it affords me the opportunity to have some of those wins. Because if you have a very, very huge goal and that's the only thing that you're shooting for, getting there can take a long time, and it can be very frustrating, and it could be very easy. It should, oh gosh, say that right. It should be, that wasn't easy, was it? It is easy to get very frustrated and just kind of leave it and quit doing it, right? It's impossible. I give up, right? And so I think maybe a better way to approach that is to have that big vision. Put it on a board somewhere. Put it on the wall. Keep it in your mind, but also give yourself something to shoot at that's a little shorter that you can have some success in, right? We all like success. We all like to win. We all like to have somebody pat us on the back and go, "Well, that's awesome," right? It really doesn't matter what your goal is, right? And the funny thing is, even if you reach or find yourself at a point where you actually achieve those really large goals, that's really not the end of it. Because to be honest, a goal is not a finish line. A goal just means you've reached something and it's time to set a new goal. You've climbed the mountain, you've gotten to the top. Now, what's the point of sitting on top of the mountain when you're not really going to excel anymore? Now it's time to find yourself a new mountain. So success really is, if you think about it, is not a destination. It is a goal, right? And having goals one after the other really keeps us moving along in life and gives us purpose. Otherwise, we get up in the morning, we are aimless, we have no idea what we're doing, what we're supposed to be doing, what gives us meaning in life, and then we find ourselves doing things that are not necessarily good for us, right? Eating too much, drinking too much, bending ourselves into other things that are illegal to do perhaps, but you get my point. So if we give ourselves meaning, it gives us a much better idea of who we are, or who we want to become, and how we're going to get there. And just sitting around and hoping for something to happen is really, it's not going to change anything, because there's a lot of parts of the equation to gaining something in life, whatever that is. I mean, you can listen to Joe Dispenza, some of those really big guys in this field, and they'll tell you, you can't simply think yourself to success. That's a very big part of it. That's where it starts, because everything we do starts with a thought. However, there must be action behind that. There must be some kind of method, some kind of struggle, some kind of something that pushes you along the journey. Because, I don't get me wrong, I have manifested many things in my life simply by thought alone over time. It doesn't happen just one time, of course, but really what I find is that when you combine the power of visualization and meditation and work and putting effort towards it, oh my goodness, it just accentuates that and pushes it along. And there are times when we get frustrated, we get down, we get starting to doubt ourselves, like for example, kind of where I'm at right now, and I have big goals. I want to help as many people as I can. And of course, as a business, we can't do it for free, and so therein kind of lies part of the problem. But I went from being at a huge store, huge metaphysical store, and lots of walk-in clients. I was almost spoiled. I was making really good, decent living, if you will, there, because there were people coming in all the time, and we were there in a lot of opportunistic times to do readings and things for people and all that. And that store, long story short, abruptly closed one day. And so there I was. I'm like, well, if I'm going to continue doing what I do, it is a business after all, I have to find my own place. And so I did, and I have got my office set up. And it is difficult when you're trying to continue going and doing what you were doing before at such a high rate of client base to, oh my gosh, there's no opportunities where I'm at for walk-ins. People are not just coming to my store or coming to my office. And so getting out there and figuring that out, it can be very frustrating. And you go from hero to zero, and boy, it really challenges your idea of what it is you're trying to do. But, it is difficult because then I'll find myself, for example, well, maybe I should get a regular job again. Oh my goodness. Of course. I mean, I'm not afraid to work. I don't mind doing that for extra money and things like that. But that's not the purpose of why I established this business. So I'm not just speaking to you guys. I'm speaking to myself as well. It's easy to get wrapped around not succeeding or feeling like you're succeeding. And, really in the background you are, because all the things that I do, the content I put out, I'm sure people take that and really do use it for their lives. Maybe it doesn't impact me directly or manifest or show me directly that it is helping people. But regardless, I think my job and everybody's job on this planet, if you will, is to help the global evolution of consciousness for humanity, right? And everybody has their part in it. Some of us are out there with big old billboards, I'm a psychic medium and all that, that's just the title. But everybody has a piece, because no matter how you look at it, you cannot have a whole of anything without all the pieces that go with it. So without you, without everybody out there, without me, without, we just simply can't evolve like we should. And so anyway, back to goals. The original reason I started this is I say that it's a good idea to give yourself something to shoot at. Because I talk to a lot of people, and one of the first questions I ask them is, what is your dream? What is it you would do if money and time were not a problem? And most people look at me with that blank stare in their face. I'm like, I don't know, and therein lies the problem. If we don't know where we're going, we may not like where we end up. And so it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be fancy. Give yourself a little something to shoot at, and something that at first that may be within your reach and easy enough to accomplish. And, you get a little sense of satisfaction. Yeah, you might not get a plaque on the wall or a pat on the back, but that's not the point. It really is about you and your journey. It's about me and my journey. Everybody has their own. And so, give yourself something to shoot at least give yourself something to shoot at. Imagine if you're going down to the gun range, right? And you got your weapon in your hand, and an instructor turns to you and says, all right, just shoot down there and shoot at that target down there. And you look down and there's no target. He goes, don't worry about it, just shoot. Just go ahead and shoot. Right? And you fire away, and then he looks at you and goes, you got to do a better job of hitting the target. And you're looking at him like, but there's nothing for me to gauge myself on. There's no target down there. Well, that's what we do in our lives, if you think about it. We're doing all kinds of work and spending all kind of energy and time on stuff, and we have no idea what we're shooting at. So I challenge you guys out there to give yourself a little something if that's what you need to do to get started. and really just start pushing yourself. Goal after goal after goal, just like in football, right? It's inch after inch after inch. Every now and then you scored a big one, but most of the time it's the grind. It's the little steps. It's the little activities, the small things that eventually create the whole, right? And even when you reach your dream or your goal, remember it's sort of like building a fire. You know, it takes time to get that fire going. Little twigs, right? Bigger sticks, then logs and all that stuff, and you got a big roaring fire. But even once that's going, if you don't tend to it, it will go out. You always have to stoke that fire, stoke that dream. So let's do this, guys. All right, let's get motivated and do a little something with these the beginning of this year. You know, I say perhaps try some smaller goals, something you can reach and get started, and see how it goes. Anyway, these are just my rambling thoughts for today. I hope you do have a great holiday, and I do hope you have a wonderful 2023 if we don't talk directly before that. And I look forward to you sharing your stories with me, your goals and things that you have actually achieved, right? And so we've all achieved some. It's really cool to hear stories. And so anyway, I will let you go on that. Namaste, stay the course, be strong.